I have Jack Jordon, the inventor of the Perimeter Pest Control System. Pull out your hose and grab your can. We're about to integrate another Pest Geek podcast. Hi, everybody. Frank Hernandez here, and welcome to the Pest Geek podcast, bringing you the latest information on pests, products, and politics from today's leading industry sources to help you start, manage, and grow your pest control business. Hey, and welcome. Welcome to another edition of the Pest Geek podcast. I am Frank Hernandez, your Pest Geek. Happy Monday to you all. So glad to be here. I am so excited about today's show. I'm like a pig in dung, okay? Just so ecstatic about what I'm about to share with you. I had the opportunity to talk last week to Jack Jordon, the inventor of the Perimeter Pest Control System, and talk about a timely product for this industry that is going under so much trial and tribulation because of pesticides, and it's going to really, this is really going to rock your boat, guys. So stay tuned to this. But I like to cover some things before I get into this. And if you want to join us, by the way, the area code is 707-395-7378. Leave us a recorded message on your question. You don't have to give your name. You don't have to give your state. You don't have to give any information. You can just leave a question, a comment, or anything that you would like to see on the Pest Geek podcast. I'd be more than glad to oblige you on that and accommodate you and try to bring as much information to this industry as possible. I'd like to give a special shout out to a couple of people this week. Rob Ryan of Pestagon liked us on Facebook. He's got a Facebook page, Pestagon Services. Hey, why don't you guys get that link? Show this guy some love. Give him some likes on his page. Let's show some Pest Geek love. All right. And he's following us on Facebook. I got Gabs Agri Fumigation. They're following us on Twitter out of New Delhi, India. And we're getting a lot of listeners overseas. I got an email this past week from Scotland, really enjoying the podcast over there, really making a difference for him. So, hey, guys, thank you so much for sharing, for liking, for following us, and comment on the things that we're doing, comment on the things that we're sharing with other people, share them with other people, and just join in on the conversation. Become a true Pest Geek. So there you go. If you enjoy good content, hey, listen, Audible is a great tool for audiobooks on tape. I listen to at least one business book a month, and it has helped me tremendously to open up my mind to new things, new ideas, new concepts that have nothing to do with pest control, but help me in my business. So check it out. You can check out audibletrial.com/pestgeek. And there you can get a free trial, free 30 days, and check it out. Nothing to buy. You can just check it out, see if you like it, get a book on us. So thank you for so much for going on those links. Also, I like to share with you the tech tip of the week. Now, I do a lot of ornamental and lawn care, and one of the greatest challenges I have is showing a customer how little or how much they're irrigating and how to adjust their irrigation system. A lot of homes have multiple zones, multiple areas, and some are in shade, some are in full sun, and irrigation is always a problem. Trying to show the customer how to properly set up their system to irrigate their home. And I got one particular home that has 6 zones. And in one part of that house, it is total shade. And I have that irrigation set at 4 minutes twice a week. It doesn't need any more than that because it's always wet because there's just a ton of shade and no sun in that side of the house. I have another side of the house that is on 30 minutes twice a week and another that's set at 12. And trying to show this to a customer visually, that they can understand if they're irrigating properly or they're putting too much water or too little water. Sometimes you have raised landscapes and the water is just draining from there and they need to modify their irrigation. One of the tools that I use is a soil moisture meter. When I tell them that they're irrigating too much, they're like, no, I'm irrigating every day, or I'm doing this. And trying to show them that they're actually not doing the right thing is very hard when they can't see it, they can't visualize it. And I use a soil moisture meter. And what I do is I put it into the ground as I do my consultation. All my consultations are done with the customer on the property, walking with me through the property, looking at every specific species, looking at it if that species looks right, doesn't look right, does it have insects, does it have diseases. They are visually going with me through this landscape. And one of the things I do is I pull out when I suspect there's too much water or improper irrigation, and there's kind of some contention there. I pull out a moisture meter and we start going through the garden. And that pretty much gets it into the mind of the customer that, yeah, this soil is saturated and these plants you have here don't use that much water. And that's your problem. It's not really an insect problem. It's not a disease problem. It's actually a root rotting problem. And we can't fix those things until you correct your irrigation. So I got a great one. It's about $66 to $69, and actually I've recommended it to a couple of people already. I've got a city here. The city, one of the superintendents actually goes around through the landscapes and figures out in the right of ways when they have to irrigate, because they have no irrigation there, so they have to go manually water it. And they've been able to figure out how to raise or cut their irrigation there manually by using it. I got a link to it. It's a general soil moisture meter, $69. It also does pH testing, so you can do two, and it's a great tool. It's a nice, durable product. It's sold at Granger's. You can order it online. There's a link to it. So, if this is something that you're challenged with, it's a great low-cost product to be able to help the customer out. In the news, some exciting news from Purdue University. Purdue University researchers did a study and showed that 78% of those surveyed supported the use of genetically modified organism mosquitoes to help control the Zika virus. And I'm quoting from Purdue's research. Researchers at Purdue University conducted a national scale survey online of 964 residents on February the 10th through the 12th of 2016 to examine U.S. residents' attitudes toward using GMO mosquitoes to help control Zika virus and their preferences for various potential control methods. Well, when I talk to most people about GMOs, they have no clue what a GMO is. So I don't know how good or bad this study is. It just shows people, hey, if you got something that solves it and you genetically modify it, so people's attitudes aren't really that harsh towards GMOs based on this study. But out of 962 households, 964, 78% they would support GMO. Of course, if your life is being in danger and there's all this hype, you would probably support anything. You support bringing back DDT. And most people I've asked still own DDT. But I don't know how good or bad this study is, but it is what it is. Check it out. There's a link to it. Find out about it. There's actually two links, one to the extension page at the extension at Purdue, and the other one to the actual study. So check it out on this website. It'll be in the show notes. And now with us, I've got for you a very, very exciting guest today. I've got on the phone Jack Jordon of Pest Control Solutions, Inc., out of Atlanta, Georgia, and he is the inventor of the Perimeter Pest Control System. And when I first read this article in PCT Magazine that wrote it up, I picked up the phone immediately right there on the spot. I gave him a call because I had to talk to them. I mean, this whole concept of a built-in pest control system that effectively kills pests while limiting exposure to toxic chemicals and entering the home is right up my alley. And I was that excited. And then I spoke to him on the phone, and then I got even more excited. So I want Jack to tell you everything about his invention, because this is one of those inventions that are so stupid simple that makes you scratch your head why somebody didn't come up with this sooner. And so I want to welcome to the podcast Jack Jordon. Hey, welcome aboard, Jack.
Hey, good morning. How are you today, sir?
I am doing fantastic. I am so excited that you're here. I'm so excited that this product is available. And I tell you, the number one reason is in the pest control industry, we as technicians mostly think chemical. Mostly think, what is the newest chemical coming out? What is the latest thing that's going to control pests? Very few times do I actually see a product that actually will work and not depend on chemical, using the chemical that's existing, but it's not a chemical product. So I am super excited about this. Just give us a little bit of background on you, what you're all about, your history, and we'll start talking about this product because I'm really excited about it.
Sure, that'll be fine. Background, believe it or not, I started out in marketing many years ago and wound up with a client that was in the stucco industry. And this is probably going back about 15, 20 years ago. And back then they had synthetic EIFs or synthetic stucco, and the protocol used by the manufacturers was actually bury it below ground. Well, what they didn't realize is termites could actually burrow through foam just the same way they burrowed through dirt. And so when they put it below grade, it was a highway to termite infestation in EIF's homes. So my client at that time got into doing remediation where he was cutting the stucco back above grade, but he went one step further in that he created a metal track that sealed the base of the stucco to the foundation. And now it was a brilliant concept, and he hired me to market it, and at that time we came up with the idea that it would probably be efficient to actually be able to inject that void with foam. What we had a problem with was in the actual marketing and the implementation was that each one of the wall surfaces was a different distance away from the foundation, and he had to custom create a bent piece of metal, a track, to actually enclose that area, so that the actual cost of the system installed was somewhere around $18 to $20 a linear foot. Great concept, implementation just absolutely was no way to sell it to people because of the costs involved. After parting ways with him, I kept thinking that the idea of creating an encapsulated treatment zone around the exterior of homes, sealing the wall system or using pre-enclosed voids such as in the brick wall systems was a heck of an idea, and that nobody had obviously pursued it. Based on that, I started experimenting with different ways to create that void around the exterior of homes, and eventually came up with a number of products for different wall systems, such as lap siding, aluminum and vinyl siding, stone and brick, as well as exterior brick systems. Because of the costs involved for startup, I've been developing this on and off over a 10-year period. We came to the conclusion the simple, most effective one to launch our product line with was the exterior brick wall system. We had developed the chemical injection ports.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, during that 10-year period, I managed to file and was granted 4 patents for these type of products.
All right. So let me talk about that for a minute, because I think you coming up with having a problem and then trying to find a solution that's actually, there are many solutions, but to find a solution that's actually sellable, and then go through that whole process of getting patents. Just for the audience, because a lot of people want to create ideas and they think they have a good idea, and how grueling is that process of doing getting a patent?
Fairly brutal. If you go to, first of all, if anybody has an idea of going and filing for a patent, I would recommend strongly going to an independent patent attorney and somebody who is not only willing to file the patent, but willing to litigate. So if you get the proper attorney, somebody who's well versed in that field alone, if somebody tries to break your patent or violate your patent, they will actually file litigation for you as part of the filing process, so that it doesn't cost you extra money on the other end going out. The actual filing of the patents is not the hard part. The hard part is every time you file the patent, it seems that the patent office comes up with a question or raises an objection, and the response can cost, each response can cost as much as the initial fee to file the patent. And it can take an ungodly number of responses to the patent office. So you might file a patent once, but maybe they've come up with 10 different reasons why they don't want to grant the patent, and you have to address it. So, I mean, it can run a stupid amount of money to actually finally get and time before the patent is granted.
Wow.
And to get multiple patents is even more of a challenge.
Yeah, you got 4.
That is correct.
And you've spent how much time since the inception of this concept to getting it patented to now getting it to market? What have you looked at here? I mean, as far as time.
Oh, it's been the quickest 10 years of my life.
Oh my goodness! So overnight success really does take 15 years.
That's no joke.
Yeah, I know. Every time I come up with an idea, I wonder how long it's going to take for that to take off. And I know.
Yeah, and how many tens of thousands of dollars are you actually going to spend on the patent with no guarantees that you're going to get any return?
Right. Yeah, because if you got a patent, just because you've been granted a patent, people think, oh, he got granted a patent. You know, any company's going to pick this up. He's going to be able to sell it. He's going to make a fortune just because you have a patent. And that's not, there's millions of patents out there that have never made any money.
The fun part about the pest control industry is it's considered a mature industry. And as such, we've always done it this way. We have no reason to change. Why do we need to buy your product?
Right. Right. And that is the biggest challenge I see. Not only a resistance from pest control professionals, but from the client is where I see the most amount of resistance of trying to change something in the industry. Tell us about your experience and what you've experienced trying to get this to market and talking to people and how you found ways to actually get this to market.
Well, it's interesting. First of all, one of the things that I discovered back 10 years ago was that there was actually a group that had tried to do a built-in pest control system, which was Centex at the time, that turned into Home Team Services. And they were doing tube in the wall. And they did all of the due diligence focus groups and found out that the consumer actually had a preference for a system that was built into the home and put a value on it of $900, which I found fascinating even 10 years ago. So the tube in the wall was an interesting concept, but it had a number of drawbacks. The system that I've got actually does perform and doesn't rely on traditional treatment methods necessarily. Although with my system, it can be put both into new construction, it can be put into existing construction, and can be used with all of the existing treatments and protocols that are currently prevalent inside of the industry. We did find that people really like the idea of having a system that did not put chemicals in the ground, which is traditional trench and treat.
Right.
The other thing that we found is there has been, for a number of years now, pending legislation and discussion of legislation by the various government groups to outlaw trench and treat or limit it. And up until now, there has been no alternative to treatment if anything was done to limit or eliminate trench and treat. And our product is the first and only that I'm aware of that actually puts chemicals and actives into the system to create a chemical barrier around a home that's not in the ground.
Huh. Right. It's right between, for those people who don't understand, I mean, I live here in the South. If you live in Miami, you've never seen a brick home probably in your life. And so how does that work in the brick? Because the design of a brick home is different than the design of a stucco home, or a design of here in the South is a block construction.
Yeah, the brick homes actually have a very unique construction methodology. You actually have a footer that's poured as part of the foundation, and it's a step that comes off around the edge of the foundation, and it creates a separate ledge. They build the structure of the home up on the main foundation, laying down the framework as well as the substrate and the waterproofing over it up on the main foundation, and then offset from that by 1 inch or 2 inches on the brick ledge is where the actual brick is constructed, the wall itself, and it creates a void between the exterior brick wall on the back of it and the interior of the substrate, which has the waterproofing. Most people don't realize that a brick wall, actually the waterproofing is behind the wall on the substrate. It's not the brick itself. And so as such, in that enclosed void, what they're currently doing, new brick construction, uses hollow core brick. So there is no way to actually just drill through the brick, insert your wand, and put a cap on it. You have to have something that creates a tube that goes through the wall and can fill that void behind it. And our system is designed to use existing actives like Termidor or Phantom or whatever, depending upon what you're treating, mixed with chemical foam. And this dry foam actually fills that void when you inject it, so that you've actually enclosed your treatment into the hollow space behind the brick wall. The nice part about it is, A, it's not going into the groundwater, it's not going into the ground, it's limiting exposure to people and animals, and as such, it protects the efficacy of the chemical because it's not exposed to water, it's not exposed to UV, sunlight, or anything like that, and it lasts as long as it can possibly last, which, from a PCO standpoint, limits the number of times that you actually have to go and fill the void. And, anecdotally, there were some tests done on Termidor that showed in a void that it was up to 100% or 99.9% effective over a 6-month period. Now, the interesting part is if you were to fill that void, Termidor works on both pests and termites. And if you just want to sell pest control, then you fill it with termite and just give them the pest control warranty. If you want to cover termites as well, you simply fill that void with the same Termidor. You're still getting both pests and termites, but you get to write the termite bond on the home and receive the revenue generated from that, and it's all from the same treatment.
Right.
So it's very interesting when you get the dual actives going involved in the treatment.
Yeah, one of the things that's so exciting about that is that we're trading ounces for gallons of what you would normally have to pump into the ground to get.
Oh, absolutely.
So your cost on your active ingredient just went from dollars to literally pennies in cost. Not to mention that you've protected the environment and you got just or better control because it won't degrade inside that wall as fast as it will in the soil. So it's a win-win.
Yeah, absolutely.
The cost of plus you eliminated the labor of the trenching. It's a one-time install. It's like scratching your head, going, how come nobody really thought of this? And I guess as long as chemicals are cheap, people will, in application, they don't think it through. So yeah, that's one of the things that I found so exciting about this.
Well, as you indicated, there were a simple idea. There were people that said the patent office actually gave you what amounts to a patent on what amounts to a soda straw through a brick wall. And yes, they did.
I love it. I just think this is so, I immediately started thinking, I said, how could I do that here? But I really can't because, cinder block construction is so different. And I said, man, if I could find something like this to do it in the house, it would be so awesome. But you're working on, you got one also for what? For siding and also for another type of structure?
I've got traditional lap siding. Doesn't matter whether it's cementitious fiber or wood, regular wood lap siding. And then I've got one that goes to aluminum and vinyl siding. But again, these processes are a little bit more expensive per foot.
Gotcha.
And it takes, and we're actually, with those systems, creating the exterior void on the exterior wall system, and we're sealing the exterior lap siding to the foundation and creating the void at that point.
Gotcha.
So it's not a pre-existing void.
Okay.
But we plan on releasing those sometime down the road yet.
Right. So, and there's a couple of ways, because since you have an experience working with brick companies and the people who install the brick and all that, you found a really unique way of getting this sold. Talk to us. Talk to us about that. How does the PCO, because you can make money in different ways through this. So how do you do that?
Well, it's fascinating that simply by partnering with brick masons in your local area, brick masons are always looking for an exterior product or an additional add-on sale to their brick wall repair or installation. And again, because of the fact that the consumer is willing to pay $400 to $800 to have a system installed, I mean, this is a piece of cake for the brick masons, and they love the idea of being able to go out and having an added and a bonus sale on their existing brick wall repair or new construction. And we have gentlemen that are PCOs that have gone to brick masons in their area, and they've effectively doubled and tripled their sales force for the cost of the brick injection ports. They simply provide it to the masons. The masons can make $400 to $500, and what we're getting is the PCOs are getting clients that are locked in contractually, because in order for the system to be treated, they simply say that you have to sign a multi-year contract after this system's installed, and it's a win-win. The brick contractor gets the added cost of installing the system, and the PCO gets the treatment. And you can make your sales force as big as you want simply by going to various brick masons in your area.
And what is the cost as far as materials for one home, an average home?
Well, the average home, talking about 150 linear foot, if you got a two-car garage and two entrance ways, you're actually able to treat 120 linear foot. The cost of the actual chemical injection ports is only 50 cents each. They're located every 2 feet. So as such, you're talking about, what is it, $30 to $60 cost per house.
Gotcha.
As far as the number of, because it's 60 ports times 50 cents is $30 a house for the ports.
Right.
And it takes one person, maybe anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours to install ports on an average size home.
Okay.
So there really is nothing to it. The fun part is you can actually create a new build program with builders. Go to the builder and just have the brick masons, they put it in the mortar as they're going around the house. You can either put our port in the mortar, or we have a different method where you're using a steel spike, put it in the mortar when it sets, but before it's dry, just pull it out and insert the tube, the injection port. So there's very, very little work in getting this installed.
Right.
And the builder winds up with, I mean, you can give it to the builder for free, or any way you want to work it. There's so many different ways to go with this. It's pretty unique.
Yeah. So we're looking at about a 2-hour investment in a home with $30 to $50 worth of material in comparison to having to trench a home.
Exactly.
And I mean, if you're my age, that's the last thing you want to do. I mean, you get into the 40s, man. You're looking like, how do I get some sweet deals that I don't have to do a whole lot of work? And that's an awesome, as far as cost savings, it's both for and labor. It's just unbelievable. I was looking at, and now you're going around and you're promoting the product, and you're at the point where you're actually trying to get some sales now to do this because you've invested 10 years of your life in development. And so that's one of the ways to do it. Have you found any issue with distribution? Are you selling it yourself directly? How are you working this to get it to the PCOs?
Well, right now, what I've been doing is just direct sale to PCOs.
Okay.
The reason being that I didn't see any advantage to taking it through distribution other than it's going to add to the cost to the PCO. And
Gotcha.
with the PCOs wanting to test the waters, I'm trying to make it as attractive as possible, and that translates to price.
Right. So the only way to get it right now is directly to you, through you.
Yeah, that is correct. Although I will admit, one of the things I've had a number of PCOs request out of me is to provide them with an exclusive in their market.
Right.
And I'm currently in discussion with a few PCOs on actually setting it up so they have a market exclusive.
Right. And you mentioned, you mentioned some studies that were done on this issue. Can you talk a little bit more about that and what are some of the results other than what we discussed already? Is there anything additional that you found in those studies?
Well, back when I was initially developing it, I was dealing with a national PCO, and they had paid to have testing done as far as the efficacy of various actives in enclosed voids. And as everybody that's a PCO understands, there's a number of, depending upon the manufacturer, the active has to be labeled for an enclosed void. Anecdotally, that PCO went to a major university and as such paid to have the system tested as far as maintaining efficacy in that enclosed void on an exterior wall system, and they did it over a 6-month period. And at the end of that 6-month period, they said that it was still 99.9% effective in killing pests and termites.
Gotcha.
And I can say that anecdotally because I don't own that result because it was paid for by the national manufacturer of or national PCO.
Gotcha. So they paid for it, and it's obviously their study.
And they exactly. Next time I'll know to get them to sign it off so we jointly own it.
Hey, you live and you learn, right?
Oh boy, that was a hard one. Yep.
Some lessons are more expensive in the long run than you think.
It was interesting that it was done, and at least now when people ask me about efficacy, it's interesting. Our products are considered chemical application appliances, and as such, they're not governed by anyone because they don't have any inherent efficacy. And we're not making any claims about efficacy. All of the efficacy is predicated on the chemical active that is chosen to be injected into these enclosed voids. As such, I'm referring people that want to use the system and determine efficacy to their chemical manufacturer, whether it's a BASF, Syngenta, whomever. And they've spent years and years and thousands of dollars doing efficacy testing, so they can provide far more than I could provide ever.
Gotcha. So you provide the tool, and then talking to them about what it would be the most effective product that they have to use with your tool would be the key.
Sure. Consider that the foamers out there. Our products are used in conjunction with B&G and NPD foamers, the standard foamers, and as such, it can also be used with dust. So in the instructions that we've got as far as treatment on the exterior wall system, we do stress that A, the active has to be labeled for the enclosed void, and B, it can't be injected with a wet foam. It has to be a dry foam because you don't want to put water into the wall system.
Right. Okay. Gotcha. And how about as far as pests getting in through there? Because if you're leaving a void or you have something, can pests get in through there?
Well, it's interesting right now. There are a variety. When you're building a brick wall, construction methods call for leaving weep holes or vent holes in the brick wall system to allow water to migrate out if it should get behind the wall system.
Okay.
Our chemical injection port it stands off about a quarter of an inch or half an inch off the wall system, and has a plug in the end of it. So you remove the plug to insert the foamer, and then you put the plug back in. So there's no way anything can go into it.
Gotcha. So
as such, the fact that you've already got pre-existing access into the wall system because of the construction methods that are already accepted, the only thing that you can do is if you fill that void with the chemical, then you still get the protection for the water being able to come out of the wall system, but you kill anything that goes in through that opening.
Right. So it's still protected even if they make it in.
That is correct.
Right. Okay.
And you're counting on. I mean, I've never understood. All these years, people are building wall systems that have openings that are like a highway for bugs and termites to get in, and nobody's done anything to address preventing that.
Not until now.
No, to the best of my knowledge, I've got the only product that does.
Yeah, no, I am stoked about this. I think this is going to be really huge. We're dealing with 21st century technology, and we're in the 21st century, and we're still using a lot of technology that's really old. About the only best thing would be if you can come up with an automated injection system that automatically turns on.
Well, yeah.
That would be awesome.
You wouldn't believe the things that are already patented that are out there. There actually is a group that has a system that they built something like that's built into the foundation, and they did exactly what you said. But the problem is, you're talking $5,000-$10,000 for the system.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
so there's the point of diminishing return. I mean, you got to be. There's a lot of ways to make something work, but you've got to make it effective so that people can afford it.
Yeah, if it's not, $10,000, it's a nice novelty item, but it'll take 20 years before it pays itself off, and by that time you don't own the house, and so that would be. But no, I am, like I said, this is like so simple. It's profitable. It's easy to use. I think it's a product that it's time. It's in perfect timing with the atmosphere that we're seeing, especially like in places like California, where their Thermador is under the scope right now, and they're looking at it very seriously.
Yes, and you were telling me about that. I'm sure your audience would be interested in hearing what you had to say about it.
Yeah, we're going to be actually, after we do this podcast, I'm going to be doing a podcast on what's happening with Thermador in California, and not only that, but we've got pyrethrin and pyrethroid restrictions, and a whole bunch of. So this is one of those things that is really thinking years into the future right now of what you're going to run into with certain types of properties, and in certain places and in certain states with more and more chemical restrictions coming down the line. So it was good that you did it 10 years ago and you're here now, because
I was 10 years ahead of myself.
Yeah, and that's the way it is. A lot of people are, when they have brilliant ideas. A lot of them don't make it because they're so far ahead of their time. People can't accept them. But I think the market is right. I think it is a beautiful thing that you're doing. Let me ask you this: is there anything that I haven't asked you that I should have asked you that you would like to communicate about your product, about your company, anything?
Well, currently, one of the things that I'm doing, if you go to the website, it's perimeterpestsystem.com.
Okay.
We're offering free ports, test sample kits of about 50 ports to the first 50 PCOs that want to contact us. And again, perimeterpestsystem.com.
Right.
And I'd be more than happy to send out ports for you to determine for yourself. Ease of installation, if you're going to be able to integrate it with no problem into your product mix, and to give you a product to actually be able to go out and deal with your local brick masons and seeing about setting up an opportunity for them to test it out themselves.
Right.
And these are free.
Awesome. So for the first 50 people, the first 50 CPOs that call in, you're giving 50 away. And what phone number should they be calling to talk to you?
770-338-2342.
All right, perfect. We're going to put that link up on the show notes, a link to the website where it has all the information, and you got your phone number. And hey, man, I hope you sell 1 billion of these. I really do, because I think it's really exciting. I think it's an awesome product.
Well, with any kind of luck, I think I mentioned to you that we're going to be running advertising starting in PCT, Pest Control Technology, in April.
Awesome.
And we'll see. We're finally taking the plunge.
Yeah, no, that's the way you got to do it. You got to do it. We're doing the same thing over here with a lot of things that we're doing, and we're going into deeper waters. And I just, I am a sink or swim type of guy, so I learned to swim by myself. I mean, what else can you do?
It's interesting. If we can get this product line up and running and generating revenues, we will be adding and starting manufacture on the other products. And as such, I know that in your area, one of the big opportunities that's coming as far as pest control is cementitious fiberboard, the hardy plank siding on homes. And we actually have a product for that is very, very effective. And instead of 50 cents a foot, I think it's like, I don't know, $1.50 a foot.
Right.
But it's still nonetheless affordable.
Right. Yeah. And compared to not, having a product that doesn't contaminate the soil, the environment, that's our big sale.
Exactly.
That's our big sale.
And, it's interesting. All of the products that we've got are easily removable too. So if you've got, as an example, for the brick wall, and you've got ports inside of a house, and if your customer decides to stop service, you can go and you can pull the ports out and just put Quickcrete in the hole and restore the house back to cosmetic appearance, and you'd never know that the ports had been in it.
Right.
And that's how you protect your system. If you've paid and you've got this in your customer's house, you can protect against that customer being poached by your competition by undercutting you for treatment. I mean, you can remove our system with no ill effects whatsoever.
Right, and then you would just put that into your contract. If you ever cancel the contract, we have the right to remove the plugs.
Absolutely.
And you're back to square one, which kind of deters. I mean, if you're the cost savings of what they've already paid for the system and then having it removed it makes no sense to do that. So,
yeah, I mean, as far as you can go either way. You can let them pay for it and own it, or you can give it to them at cost and you can own it and pull it out if they stop treatment.
Right.
It's whatever way you'd like to go with it.
Yeah, no, it makes total sense. It's awesome. I love it. Like I said, I wish you the best. It's a great concept, great idea. Very few things really get me excited in the morning. This is one of them. So, Jack, thank you so much for coming on board. I know that you're busy. I know that you're running a company, and to come on board and talk to us about this is really awesome. So I do thank you.
Well, I sincerely appreciate the opportunity, and I thank you for allowing me the time.
No, thank you, sir. I will be. And hey, maybe in a couple of months, we can do another and get a progress report on how everything is going with you.
I'd be more than happy to do that and fill you in. Oh, I should mention, one of the things that I am working on is going to the National Brick Mason Association and setting it up so that their members are preferred as far as getting access to the ports. And that's like 20,000 brick masons around the country.
Awesome. Is there any shows that are going to be happening in Atlanta in the next couple of weeks or month that people might be able to go or something like that? Because I know there's always like a home show or something that people.
Oh, there's boatloads of those things, but we aren't at that point yet.
Yeah, they're expensive, man. I was going to do one this year, and I said, no, I'll wait till next year.
It's like, let's get a few sales going so we can pay for the advertising. Then we'll go to the next level.
You got it. Sounds great, my friend. I really do appreciate it, and I will talk to you soon.
Thank you again very much. I appreciate it.
All right, Jack. Take care.
You too.
Hey, folks, I hope that you have enjoyed this podcast. I hope it has really blessed you today and that you've enjoyed it. And again, if you've got any questions, any comments, find us. You can find us anywhere on the World Wide Web by just looking up Pest Geek Podcast, all one word. And by the way, show us some love if you really enjoy this podcast. Go to iTunes And give us an iTunes review. It's really easy from an iPad or from any device that you're listening. You can just click on there and give us a review on iTunes. It would really, really help the podcast, and we really do appreciate that. Hey, folks, until next time, you have a great one. Thank you for listening to the Pest Geek Podcast. If you have enjoyed the Pest Geek Podcast, please give us a rating, write a review, or subscribe to the channel. You can join the Pest Geek Society by visiting pestgeekpodcast.com. Thank you for listening. See you next time.